Hi, I'm Lizzi Aronhalt. I'm here at Summit Artspace, and this is my show called Anywhere, which is a collection of cityscapes and buildings, abstract paintings that I've done that explore the idea of memory and place in my own life, and that I hope connects to other people as well. So if you look at all the pieces, they are all architecturally based, cityscape-based. I get a lot of my inspiration from the world around me, so probably like half of these paintings, now I'm looking at all of them, are Akron or Cleveland or other places that I've been. So I'll either stop like during my everyday like errands and stuff, and I'll take a photo of like a place that I see that I think is interesting, or places that I've visited a lot, I'll like document those places. So it's a range from places that I've seen like just for a moment to places that I frequent like in my everyday life. So I get a lot of inspiration, yeah, from just the world around me, specifically buildings, all the buildings. These are buildings. Stylistically, I've always been really drawn to like outlining things. Even in high school, I always would like paint or draw, and then I just want to go back and outline things. So there's a really strong like linear aspect to all the pieces, lots of outlining with paint and also with vine charcoal. That's another medium that I use a lot. Some of these have paint marker in them too, so technically I'm a painter, but I have a lot of drawing aspects. I think that's like a huge piece in my work. I love to draw on top of the things, so sometimes I'll draw first or I'll draw last, so there's a lot of those like linear elements too. I started to like notice buildings more when I left Akron. So I grew up here, but I lived overseas for a couple years, and I started to notice like the geometry of like cityscapes and stuff, and that really started to kind of draw me in. So I started painting buildings and just playing with like the patterns and the repetition that I saw in the world around me in buildings. And then I just started, it's like the more I looked at everything, the more I noticed from things. So I started to be drawn to things like power lines and satellite dishes and the way that windows kind of create a pattern in a row of houses and that sort of thing. So a lot of them play a lot with that sort of like geometric, like linear aspect of things. And so then when I moved back to Akron, it was like I was seeing the city in like a whole new way, because I had practiced like looking at other cities. So then I started to notice like how much I liked the geometry of like those classic old Akron houses, and how much I liked the way some of the buildings in downtown like stacked on top of one another and stuff like that. So yeah, so this show specifically, it's called Anywhere. So I was just playing around with this idea of the way that like you can connect with places even if they're not like your home. So there are like a mixture of places like Los Angeles in here, and Chicago and New York. And then I sort of tied it in with this idea of memory and the way that we also remember those places. So some of the images are more clear and crisp and almost lean towards realism, and other ones I push more into abstraction, to just sort of play with the way that, for me, over time, places that I remember, my memories of them will change, or the way I view the memories will change. So sort of like playing with that idea of memory and how that relates to the places that we are. But I wanted to keep the pieces, some of them are pretty recognizable, but a lot of them could be like anywhere, like the show title says. I have people ask me where pieces are, and a lot of times it'll be a place that they connect with, but isn't actually the painting, which I kind of love that, where it's like, these little glimpses of places can remind you of your own experience or your own like home, which is cool. Yeah. So this piece was one where I was really playing with the idea of like memories. So this one's called Everywhere, Layers of Memory. And so this one really started out pretty realistic. So it was a picture of an apartment building in a neighborhood I lived in like 10 years ago. And so I just really wanted to play around with like the ways that my memories of those experiences like have changed over time. So like up here is most of the like first layer kind of peeks through, and then throughout the rest of it there's like 5 or 6 more like layers that I put on that continue to like abstract it and pull it away from the original like image. So I have fine charcoal in this one. I layered some like India ink, which gives these like drips, which I think gives that nice feeling of like that it's changing. It's like active. Yeah. So this one I like that it pushes more towards abstraction, but you can still kind of read that it's architectural and place-based at the same time.